Welcome to the StudioPTBO podcast. My name is Cody May, and I am joined here with Neil Morden and Rob Locke. James
Locke.
James
yeah,
Locke.
Man of
What is your name? Electric City
I have
Rob.
many monikers, many aliases.
Shouldn't we ask him that before we hired him?
I know. We didn't.
Yeah.
Well, no, I ran a background check at Best Buy prior to hiring him.
There we go.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
So
perfect.
Took a little while to get him hired,
yeah,
but
once they figure out all the pieces into place.
To me, his name is Electric City Rob.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're known by.
That's
Yeah.
within like 10 minutes, yeah.
Easy
That's
Rob.
within 10 minutes. So tell me that story about Electric City Rob. How did you actually get that name? I know how, but
I
they want to
walked
know how.
in, got an interview for the internship, and then at some point Neil just burst in the room and then asked me my name, and then I'm pretty sure within 2 minutes into that conversation he's just like, all right, Electric City,
You're hired.
and then he's just gone like a specter. He was just in and
Electric City Rob, like immediately.
I like it. It just when I looked at him, I'm like, he just looks electric. Like it's. Well, I don't.
You look.
don't
You
know.
just look
And
electric.
zoom in on me, Rob, if you're editing this, and it will be.
Yeah, it's stuck. I don't know. I've never coined. I mean, I've coined many nicknames, most of which I can't say on air. But like that one just felt. Like, well, Cody's is good. Cody, two take Cody.
Yeah, and actually, the
So
content marketing.
Easy
we also-
legend.
I'll take Legend.
Yeah, legend.
I was Flash at Camp Cortha, but a Legend was a better
What's
one.
actually
But-
odd about Electric City, though, is that I had only heard that be used a couple of times before you said it to me, and then now I'm seeing it everywhere. Like we have the barbershop, Electric City Barbershop.
Right.
Then there's
Dental.
Then there's the dental. Then there's the mural.
So
down
you're saying
underneath
you're
the
more
bridge.
aware of it now, or that
Yeah,
you
like
started
it's-
or a trend it's come back in vogue?
It's either it's one or the two. It's
Yeah.
either I'm more aware of it, and I was just
Yeah.
an idiot beforehand, or it's just kind of started to spring forward.
I'm gonna go with the latter.
Yeah.
So walk me through maybe for people that don't know, like, because generally you're behind the camera. Today you're in front of the camera. That's why
unfortunately
today's podcast is kind of more stationary.
No, I'm
so
moving.
you're
Yeah,
moving.
as long as we do all
yeah,
the
as long as we move to the left
Yeah.
and the right. So walk me through that process of like how you got hired here. Like what did you do as, you applied for an internship. You didn't even really apply for an internship because we weren't offering an internship. It's just kind
Yeah.
of self-imposed.
I just kind of went, hey, I'm gonna show up, and you guys can ask me to leave, but oh no, I
I'm
was
not gonna leave.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of in like a weird place in life, so I was doing kind of what I wanted to do, but like at the time I was brainwashed and I was thinking that I love what I do and all this, and then slowly it started to dawn on me that I'm like, this isn't right, and I'd always known that I wanted to do something every day that wasn't the same thing.
Mhm.
And that's what I was doing in my job all the time. Like I could just, there were times where I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, I thought I was just at work, because it's just like it's
so monotonous.
Yeah, it's just rinse and repeat every day. And then I just kind of threw the meatball out there, and then
Boy, is it work.
it was odd how our timing, me and you, Cody, kind of coincided.
Yeah, I think you had
because-
started a few months before Rob,
Yeah.
full time.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're working with us, but
Yeah.
it was a few months before. And then I
Yeah.
feel like we've known each other for years, but literally we met Rob, and then like 2 days later, we're like, Rob, we're going off to a conference in Niagara
Yeah.
Falls. Are you ready to shoot?
Yeah.
Here, come along with two strange men into a car to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
huh?
But boy, was that a boot camp for you. And,
Yeah,
and,
100%.
and it that was really brought us together as a team.
Yeah.
The cohesion there. And we've all come a lot way since then. And tell us about what it's like for you to, work here and document everything we're doing. And I mean, is it monotonous for you here, Rob?
No.
Have we
it's
brainwashed
definitely-
you here, Rob?
I don't know, but
We'll get
No,
you a foosball table if you're not
it's-
happy.
okay, I'm gonna hold you to that. But no, it's
That's
it's
coming out of
really-
your pocket.
It's really interesting because it goes all over the place, right? Like it's project work, and then there's like the random kind of throughout the day kind of stuff. But then it's cool how like telling the story over like a course of weeks, and then you don't see a story arc there until like the weeks have passed, right? And the best example is doing the year in review. And going back through that, I'm like, there's so much stuff that I was like, I forgot that completely forgot
done
that
so
happened.
much. Yeah.
And then there are other times where I'm like, that feels like it happened yesterday.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's like this reverse effect. And then I'm piecing it all together. And really, our year in review is just kind of like this growth story.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then, so now
Totally.
this year's story is going to kind of be like up in the air until we're looking in 2020, and then it's like, oh,
Yeah, it's
That's
neat to
when it'll
look back
dawn
at
on.
everything you're
Yeah.
documenting, eh?
Yeah.
Already,
Yeah.
like all the shoots we go on, everything we do day to day. It's like, and you did a video early on, which really resonated with me. I think a month in, saying how this had changed your life being here, and you know, you're really invested in working here and playing the long game with us, and this was your passion. And because when you started, you weren't that happy, right? Like,
no,
you know,
absolutely
and you
not.
seem a lot happier now. And I think truly, like Cody's always said, if you find your passion in life, if you can make it your career, it's a game changer, because
Yeah,
you're not
absolutely.
living for the weekend.
Yeah,
Right?
it's you're not just counting the days and the hours until it comes. And I was always finding that there was like this kind of disconnect between like my professional life and then my personal life, and then
Interesting.
now that it's kind of like it doesn't matter that there's like it doesn't matter anymore. It's kind of like there's times where you'll call me and you'll be like, "Oh, we're going on a shoot on Saturday." I'm like, "Whatever."
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
feel like work.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
It's interesting how that works. You know, you find something that you really love doing, and then you end up in that position. Like I was in the same boat. You know, I spent 10 years in retail, and like I loved working with the people I worked with.
yeah,
But there was always that sense of like, I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
yeah,
And then when I made the transition here, you know, and we started the video division, and we started doing all of this marketing stuff. Like it really, like, I found my niche, and I, like, you know, like, and you've been a really monumental person in that growing stage that you talk about in 2018.
well, yeah,
2018,
because
yeah.
I guess it is. It feels like ages ago, but
Yeah.
and it's actually like pretty like serendipitous, right? It's like my growth stage was like just coincided with all of you
Totally.
like at the same time, so it's like it kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
just,
you're literally in
it
at the
kinda
ground
just-
floor watching us grow.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's-
so it's
really
actually
cool.
It's interesting for me just as much as it's kind of as important as you guys saw it. It was like just as important to me. So
Yeah. What is your landscape, and what is your lens on documenting? Like, because you're the one actually behind the camera. Not only are you behind the camera, you're also the one behind the computer editing. You know, having to listen to Neil all day.
Sorry.
But like, you know, and honestly,
Omit needless words.
I know,
Neil,
I-
right?
yeah,
EB
like-
White School. I gotta subscribe to that.
yeah. But like, you know, what is your landscape on documenting? What do you think it does for a business? What do you think that it can do for a business?
And don't say
Well-
nothing, or this is not going to work out well.
Yeah,
For you.
I'm bleeping out
brainwashing.
that.
I'm gonna put in crickets for like just 5 minutes. No, I think it's like it definitely, like, I was skeptical of it at first, and then
Fair.
it's just kind of over time it kind of like, and you guys always say how it's hard to kind of convert people, and it's absolutely true, because I was one of them at first where I'm like, but it's I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I'll do it, but it's like, let's see,
Yeah.
right? And then over time, like, it starts to change your perspective, and then you start to notice that it's true to me that, like, I tend to, if I'm jaded with a business, I'm not going back there. It doesn't matter how good their deal is. If they, you know, if my pizza was burnt one time, I'm not coming back. Sorry, you're having $1 pie day. But it's like, and then if I trust the business, or if like I know the owners, and like I know business owners around the city, and like I'll go out of my way to go to them.
Right.
And it's like, even if I know I'm paying just a little bit more. So
Comfort
it's
food.
kind of that thing in your brain, and people don't really kind of put that together sometimes. And when you put yourself up onto social media and people are like, "Oh, I'm seeing you everywhere, you're doing great," it's like they don't really realize that they just got pulled into the network.
The vortex,
just the way that
Electric
you-
City Rob.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
you pulled them in just the way that you wanted them
Yeah.
to, but they thought that they did it out of their own, like they
It
thought
was
they
super
did it
organic,
themselves.
is what
yeah.
you're saying. Yeah, I
But-
get it. It was truth. It was just slow, subtle.
Yeah.
Branding, storytelling approach works. It was building a relation. It was relationship building, right? Creating comfort food.
Totally. And it's interesting that, you know,
Not burnt
it just,
comfort food.
not burnt
Pizza.
comfort food, and not dollar pizzas.
Dollar
If
pies.
you offered me $1 pizza, I probably wouldn't take it.
no,
Yeah.
that's more. Now 20-something me would.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I did eat.
But you're all
something from the gas
domesticated now,
station.
so you would never do that, right?
I did eat
Not
that
dollar
chicken
pizzas.
sandwich from the gas station. So if anybody's got $8 pies out there, let me know. I'll put my email down here at the bottom. So
But I really
Mm-hmm.
think that, you know, documenting can do really good things for your business. You know, it can take people inside the landscape of who you are, what you do, and why you do it. What do you think when you're editing this content? And you're hearing different voices like mine telling you to caption videos, and then you're hearing other voices like mine that's telling you that we need different cuts for Instagram and different cuts for Facebook. What's going through your head? And I guess that you'll answer that question. And then the next question I have in conjunction with that is, how can business owners either A, do it for themselves, or B, what should they look like for in a video production agency?
Well, when I'm editing, it's obviously going to be different from when, like, say just a business owner is trying to do it himself. It's going to be different. Like, they're not going to be sitting behind Premiere for as many hours a day as me. And they can take it from a really small, like a really small version of that. And like that'll make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Whereas from when I'm doing it, I'm trying to just like, and this happens so much where I'm like, I wish I could put it all in. And I hate that there's only a minute on Instagram. I'm like, I wish I could cram it all in there.
IGTV.
Yeah. It's, but... But there's so many platforms. There's so many ways to go. That's
another conversation we're going to have later on.
But
let's have it now.
But there's so many platforms. There's so many angles that you can go in at that from when it comes to me, it gives me a lot of freedom. But at the same time, it restricts me in other ways. So it's when I'm making a Facebook cut, I'm looking at that Facebook cut and then going, all right, I use this part and then maybe 10 seconds of this part, but I still want to tell that story, but I just have to really condense it down. But
what do you think that us doing these podcasts has done for you with content?
What us doing these podcasts? I think like it's kind of actually that's a super hard question to answer, because for the longest time the podcast, everybody was looking at it super skeptically. Yep. Because it's actually seems like a step back. People think that like, oh, you're radio's going away, audio's going away, but then it's actually doing this weird thing where it's
coming back. It's bringing radio back, but in a different way.
And when you guys were starting
the
starting the podcast, I was super skeptical of it. I was like,
well, you were a real skeptic at the beginning, weren't you?
Really? But
you just never say anything because we were paying them.
No wonder you kept frowning at us all the time, eh, Cody?
But what
are you guys doing
the
now?
thing is, though, is that I've started to notice, I'm like, oh, crap, like, I listen to podcasts. So I'm like, oh, okay, so
consumer behavior, but that's the biggest thing, and that's the thing I keep coming back to is like, it's like marketing is all about consumer behavior. Yeah, it really comes back to that. It's not about there are obviously things you want to measure like KPIs and impressions and everything, but it's like just watch how people interact,
and like the effort that you have to put into a podcast versus the return that you get from it is huge.
Yeah, totally.
And on top of that, I think that a lot of people don't notice the behavior that they're doing. Like, say, I don't notice that, like, I'm listening to podcasts and I go, oh, you're doing a podcast. Yeah. Yeah. But it's like they don't really have that.
They don't notice their shifting behavior.
They don't look at their own behavior as their own behavior, and then they're just observing everything around them.
Really interesting.
So
I see that oftentimes with like some business owners that say, well, my target demographic's not on Facebook. And that argument is said because they see other business owners that they're going after that their business pages aren't active on Facebook.
No, it doesn't mean that they're not there.
No, it doesn't.
But they're on.
But they're on Facebook.
They're on the device. They just don't realize how they could be deploying it, and they're not necessarily on traditional. They're not necessarily watching traditional TV anymore, or radio, or newspaper. But they're still advertising there, even though they themselves aren't consuming it.
Yeah, like
we had multiple conversations.
Yeah,
if you look at my Facebook profile if you went on there right now, it would look like I'm never on there.
Yeah. I can't even find you on Facebook because I don't know.
Because he has like 10 different names.
I know.
Now, here's a feel-good thing about feel-good moment about Rob. So we have tons of amazing clients we work with, and one of them is the Humane Society, to tell their story and document their journey to building a new state-of-the-art facility in Peterborough. And Rob goes on a lot of shoots at the Humane Society. So Rob, tell us your what happened with your little chai.
No.
You know what I really want?
It's pretty cool.
You know what I really want in this video, and this is you're gonna hate me for this. I just like when you say that, this really heartfelt video. I just want like hearts to come down.
Like the Instagram
filter?
Yeah,
like hearts to come down.
And then you just get like the chai coming down.
He's actually saying do
Wait,
that. So, but tell us about,
because now if you don't do it,
tell us about chai.
So I was at a shoot. I'd say it was probably like 2 months ago. I don't know. Time is just a construct of man's mind right now.
Deep
but
thoughts with Electricity Rob.
Yeah, we're going Joe Rogan today. And I was just there shooting for some B-roll, and we're just coming out of the dog kennels, and then just coming down the hall was just this little peanut thing walking on a like little leash that was like a piece of yarn. And I just look at it, I'm like, whoa, what is that? And it just like looks up at me, and then her ears just went like this. I'm like, whoa, that's a cool looking dog. And then she took her away. I'm like, oh man, what's that dog's name? I'm like, oh, that's Chai. And then later on, I'm like, well, I'll get some B-roll of that dog. That dog was cute. And so I go in, and then there's like this little hut in there, and then there's this little tiny head, like this little ant head sticking out, just there yapping at me. Yeah, and I'm like, that's a lot of noise for a little tiny dog. I'm like, I like that dog. I want that dog.
You know, there's two reasons why you like the dog, in my opinion. Number one is the fact that it's your spirit animal.
Yeah.
Like when you see Chai,
Yeah.
you see Rob.
It's Rob.
Number two.
Same features.
Number
same
two,
mannerisms.
and Pavel and everyone who's in Tahoe can vouch for this. When Rob goes on a tangent and starts talking, he doesn't shut up.
Yeah, I'll get in there.
Yeah.
Like Chai when
Like
he goes
Chai
on
when
Yeah, and then you have to like hold her up in the air and just like stop. But,
And
yeah.
once in a while, Chai takes breaks, like to do maybe duty on my carpet, right? In my
Yeah,
office,
so
Rob?
it's like when she did that, we connected on a different level.
I have
did
a-
too.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have a question. Where was the camera when this happened?
The camera was in my mind, everybody. I
Yeah.
was taking mental pictures all over the place, but
So
it was
Chai
a little...
Chai was in my office the other day, and first thing in the morning, Robin had him outside like for 20 minutes to do his business,
Freezing.
he looked up and I'm like, I'm not doing my business in here. So he came in and did his business in my office.
Yeah,
and this
and
little what kind is it? A dash?
she's a Dachshund or Dachshund or however you pronounce it, Chihuahua mix.
Yeah, this little tiny thing. Like I don't know how it managed to squeeze all of those logs out of there, but man, it was just looking up at me and just like anyway. Yeah, it was it was a duty moment I'll never forget. But you should have been documenting. But he was
but-
pooping and scooping.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
I ain't picking that up.
I was busy.
I'm
I'm
so
like,
glad I
Neil,
wasn't here.
Neil,
But-
I feel bad.
But it is a heartwarming moment. It shows that the clients we work with, we love what we do. We love and I love. This is one of these moments I'll always remember that you fell in love with this dog that's now sort of become our resident mascot here, and it's become a part of who we are, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Totally.
and I think that is a pretty good story. It's but it's weird. Like the going to the Humane Society was always like, and it still kind of is. It makes me feel guilty when I'm there, or like
bring
when
home
I'm
more
leaving.
dogs.
Yeah, that's like that's what's always rattling around.
You know
in
the
the
goal
brain.
was for you to pick up Chai that day, right? Like Cody and I have been planning that for a few
Yeah,
months.
they kept asking.
Yeah.
They're like, we really need to get
We
this
were-
dog adopted. So
Yeah.
we're like, we're gonna send.
We really need to see your commitment to the cause here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
Rob's a monthly donor now too.
So what is your message to that's good. What is your message to people about sort of now that you're not as jaded about and skeptical about sort of documenting and telling your story, and what's your message to prospective people out there that aren't yet doing it but they're thinking about it?
Well, people always think that we're just going to be like doing like B2B, like it's if you're a business owner, do this. But with like Erica, she's a prime example that even just like normal people can do this too. You can build a brand around just a person, around your name, around your business as well. You can make it recognizable just by like, as you said, just doing the reps. Just keep doing the things that you're doing, but then let people in on them.
Yeah, don't give up. And Erica, who Rob's referring to, is one of our influencers we signed recently. Erica and Brendan, a great couple, and it's already been going well one weekend.
Totally.
Already had some meetings based on what it's like it works.
Amazing.
Like
It totally works.
Yeah.
Produce content. Find social influencers, tell your story, tell your own story. And all those things add up to massive growth for businesses. Like I sat down with a client today, and they said the only thing they changed in their marketing strategy was they added social media. They didn't do any other sort of advertising, and they were up 35% year over year.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's all
It works.
It's a game changer.
But people
Yeah.
don't like a lot of people. It's
Mhm.
they run into the problem that sometimes they're too humble, so that they're like, oh, like I don't want. They'll feel like they're bragging or
Yeah, totally.
It's like, but just keep doing what you're doing, and
Just
as long as
humble
it's
brag.
coming, as long as it's
Humble
coming from
brag.
Yeah.
as long as it's coming from a good place, though, it's
Yeah.
like it's nobody will care.
It's your
It's not,
story.
it's not
Just do it.
narcissistic. It's your
Storytelling.
story. And
Sorry,
tell it.
Nike, but I just we're gonna get it flagged now.
Yeah, but you're right. You
Yeah.
can build no matter who you are, what brand. Like you can be a startup from
Yep.
ground zero, or you can be a big brand that needs to pivot now and really document. So we
Yeah.
really, Cody and I really appreciate everything you're doing for us.
Yep.
You know, the learning curve has been steep, and you know you've been phenomenal. So we really appreciate
Yep.
the journey that you're on with us, and who knows where it's going, but it's been a wild ride so far.
It has been.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, thank you once again for tuning into the Studio PTBO podcast. We will see you soon.